So what's up with it? For those who don't know who I am, I'm TP Talks. I'm 20 years old and I live by myself. No roommates, none of that. Just a hardworking young black man who lives alone. What is this video about? This video is about moving out, and you want to move out. Before you move out, bro, I think the first thing and the most important thing that you should ask yourself is why. Why do you want to move out? And be very, 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 very specific with your answer. Don't say, oh, so I can have more freedom or have more, like, yes, I get that. And that's not a bad answer because everybody wants to feel more free. But get very specific with that answer. Why? Is it because you don't like your home situation? Is it because girls? Is it because, like, what is it, right? Are you a musician and your mom doesn't like when you make music at night because it's too loud and now you want to, like, why is the main, like, what is the reason, especially in this economy, why do you want to live alone, bro? Like, really, really, really get to the root cause of why you want to move out, because it's a responsibility, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a walk in the park, even if you're rich, like, even if you're making good bread, like, it's not just about the financial aspect, and I'm gonna get into that in just a moment. But yeah, the first question, like, I just want you to ask yourself why. And if your answer is some dumb shit, bro, stay your ass home. I don't want my mom to tell me to take out the trash anymore. I want to, like, it better be a good reason, bro. It better be a good reason, because I know a lot of people who live alone who hate that shit, who regret that shit. Now they're stuck. I definitely hated that shit when I first did it. I'm not gonna lie. I did not like it when I first did it. And that was just because I can confidently say that I wasn't ready. I didn't have a choice though. You know, that was my situation. I didn't have a choice. I had to. Just given the circumstances, for the people that I did live with and the stuff that happened, I didn't have that choice. I had to go. I had to figure it out. And that was just the life, you know what I'm saying? I obviously have adjusted and figured it out more since. Understand that if you have a choice, really, really, really make sure that this is something that you're gonna commit to. Second question is, are you ready to take on the responsibility? Ask yourself that, like, and sit down. Like, if you haven't really thought about what it comes with, especially if you're gonna live 100% by yourself. Now, I've never had a roommate before, so I can't really give you advice on what that looks like. But as far as you living alone, sit down and ask yourself, like, bro, like, are you actually disciplined and responsible enough to handle not only the financial, but the mental, the physical, and the spiritual aspects that comes with being by yourself, being alone, being in your own space, creating your own space, creating your own situation, creating your own everything, because there's a lot of freedom. You know, there's a lot of being there. Like, just nobody's gonna tell you what to do. Nobody has to tell you what to do. Obviously, you got like a landlord or whatever. Like, assuming you're moving into like an apartment or something like that. Like, there's some people that you still have to listen to. But in the base and grand scheme of things, whatever happens within those four walls is your business, right? So if you want to stay up every single night till 6 in the morning and not be in your shit, then you can do that. If you want to have a new girl or guy in the crib every single day, you can do that. If you want to have your crib dirty as hell and never clean it, you can do that. I know a lot of people who live dirty as fuck and they don't even got their own spot. It's just their room. If you a dirty room ass motherfucker, you should not be moving out, bro. Clean your room before you even think about having your own spot. Those are things that people don't think about, right? They don't think about, okay, like, there's a list of responsibilities that needs to get done. I need to have my space clean. I need to have my space taken care of. I need to have a routine outside of just the crib, but a routine in my life, because now this is the first time in my life my routine is 100% my own. I don't have to put my mother in a routine. I don't have to put my cousins in a routine. I don't have to, like, obviously if I want to call them, tell them I love them, stuff like that, definitely do so. But it's like, you have the space and the option to do almost whatever the hell you want to do, you know? And a lot of y'all are not ready for that. A lot of y'all are not ready for that, bro. So you have to really come to that conclusion. Now, let's talk numbers. We gotta talk money, right? Obviously, I'm assuming that if you're thinking about moving out, then you financially have something going on, right? Whether you work a full-time job, whether you work a part-time job and you have a couple roommates or one roommate or whatever, like, I'm assuming that you have some bread flowing in, but understand that your rent is gonna be the most important bill. You're gonna want to make rent before you want to buy food. It's just the truth. Like, you're gonna want to set aside that bread every single month to make sure you're straight. So if you don't have the consistency and discipline to always have that set aside every single month, don't even bother, because all you're gonna do is mess up your renter's history, mess up your credit, mess up your future self is gonna be mad as hell. Your future self is gonna say, dang, I wasn't ready yet. I should have stayed home and I should have did more research and I should have matured a little bit bit more before I made that big leap. It's not easy to, like, when you're young, yeah, you can make mistakes in your credit, you can make mistakes on this, that, and the third, but when you're older, it's not easy. Like, I've had so many conversations with people twice my age talking about how they can't get to a 700 credit score. They can't get past the 640. They can't get past the 5. Like, all because they messed up when it was my own mother, bro. Like, love her to death, and I hate to put her business out here, but she's one of those people where she made those mistakes as a youngin'. She wasn't able to get a credit card for a very long time. And it's all because she didn't really sit down and think to myself, like, okay, this is very, very, very important. I cannot take this for granted. You know, I need to learn credit. I need to learn history. I need to learn, okay, what are the good steps to take and what are the bad steps to take into living alone, into getting a crib, into purchasing things with my credit card. Like, all of that is so important. So like I said, ask why you want to do it. Get that bread stuff figured out. And the last question I really have for you is, can you handle being alone? I think that's something that I definitely didn't ask myself when I first moved in, because it's been almost a year now since I've been living alone. I feel like just recently, like very recently, I have been able to genuinely be alone without feeling like I'm having FOMO, or without feeling like I need somebody to call me or text me or invite somebody over or whatever the case is. I was one of those people where I would front like I was okay with being alone, and I would front and act like, you know, it didn't affect me at all. When you grow up in a household of many people and they're loud, and then you switch all the way to a household with nobody and you're quiet, it definitely does something to your mental, especially when you're not ready for it, when you don't prepare for it. So, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't move out if you're afraid to be alone, because it's good exposure therapy. You should like train yourself to be alone. But just know that it comes with a lot, you know? It's definitely a mental load. It's definitely going to get isolated and lonely at times. You're probably gonna miss people. You're probably gonna, like, whatever the case is, however you cope, you have to be ready for these things. You have to expect these things. Like, I know this probably wasn't the video that you're expecting. You're probably expecting me to tell you, like, make sure you have a bed frame for your, like, no, I don't. You can look up those, like, the goofy bot videos of stuff like that, but this is mental, bro. This is spiritual. This is really spiritual. Like, don't succumb to your loneliness because you don't know how to handle it. You know, don't succumb to it. What does that mean? That means don't invite random people in the crib, or don't try to have parties all the time, or don't do all of this stuff that you know that's not going to be good for you. Do not do it. Do not invite a whole bunch of girls over, or a whole bunch of dudes over, or whatever you like, because you want to feel something, or because you feel alone, or because you feel insecure. Don't do it, man, because at the end of the day, you're just gonna regret it. You're just gonna be like, damn, like, I should have just stayed home, or damn, I should have just, no, now this person has my low. Like, don't let anybody know where you live. Don't let anybody, protect your space. That's the point. Protect your space. Like, and it's not just about the crib, but this is about anything. This is about people having your phone number. This is about people knowing where you be at, knowing what your routine is, knowing what you like to eat on a daily basis, knowing what gym you go to. Like, be private, bro. Now, you don't have to be like a weirdo. Like, obviously you can have friends and you can meet up with them and hang out with them. And if you trust them, yes, they can come over and stuff. But, like, don't be that person that everybody knows where you are. Don't be that person where everybody knows what you're doing. Even if you're gonna be somebody who posts on social media like me, like, you need a level of security and privacy in your life, or you're always gonna feel like somebody's watching you. You're always gonna feel like there's a chip on your shoulder. You're always gonna feel not good enough. You're always gonna feel uneasy with yourself, because you know at the end of the day, people know what you got going on, and it's very, very terrifying because people are unpredictable. You don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what they're capable of. There's some people who live in certain areas, and there's some people who live in certain areas. Like, I'm not saying that you're gonna get backdoored or somebody gonna pull up on you or drop. Like, I'm not saying all of that crazy stuff, but all I'm saying is it's better for people to not know than to know. The less is more. It's better to have one true friend who you can take a bullet for and know that they'll do the same than have 17 friends who you can't trust with a single sentence that's not gonna go out to the whole vicinity of people. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying this with experience. I'm not just yapping out of my ass. Like, this is stuff that I've already did. I've already made the mistake, so you don't have to. I've already been the person who was lonely and invited people over, so you don't have to. I've been the person who was trying to have functions or whatever. It's not going to help you in the long run. It's not going to make you feel better about living alone in the long run. It's gonna make you feel worse. The only thing that you should truly do and master is your space and your your energy. This is the time where you figure out who you are. This is the time where you meditate. This is the time where you journal. This is the time where you actually are trying your absolute hardest to discover who you are. Everything outside of you is going to fall into place. Everybody outside of you is going to fall into place. If they were meant to be in your life, they will be. If they weren't, they won't. You don't have to force somebody to be there. You don't have to force a girl to want to speak to you or force a guy to want to, trust you. Like, you don't have to do none of that. People are going to gravitate towards your energy and your aura, but that's only if you show up for yourself. Every day you have to show up. You can't show up only on Mondays and Tuesdays and think that everything's going to be jolly. No, you have to show up every single day. Okay, let me wake up, let me get this done. Let me wake up, let me do this. Let me wake up, let me focus on my pure self. Okay, let me read this book. Let me hit the gym. Let me eat healthy. Let me try my best to just do what I feel like aligns with who I am. And obviously that's different for everybody. I'm not saying do what I do. I'm also not saying stay stagnant because of the fear and because of the pain that you have from isolation. Isolation is a gift. It's a painful gift, but it's a gift. It's a gift that exposes your true self. It's a gift that exposes your true thinking. When you take away the girls, the clothes, the money, the cars, the TikTok, when you take all of that stuff away, what are you left with? You're left with nothing but the soul. And either you're gonna have a tainted one or a fulfilled one, but that is up to you. A lot of y'all have tainted souls, and it's not even y'all fault. It's because y'all never sat down and asked yourself, what am I doing? You never sat down and said, is this normal? Should I really be spending 8 hours a day on my phone? Should I really be just going to parties every weekend? Should I really be doing this? A lot of y'all are not lit enough to have that conversation with yourselves, and then you wonder why you can't get anything done. You wonder why you can't focus. You wonder why you hate yourself. You wonder why you got all of these problems going on. And I know I'm branching off, because this is about living alone in an apartment or living alone for the first time. But this all is extremely important, because at the end of the day, when you are in a vicinity where you're nowhere except for surrounded by your energy, your dark self and your what is it called? Your shadow is going to expose itself. Every single thing that you've probably been holding back in front of your parents, in front of your cousins, in front of your sister, your girl, your guy, whatever, all of that is going to come to light when you live alone. When you have your own space, all of that is you are going to have to confront that demon if you have not did any shadow work to heal. And I'm currently doing that right now. Like, I am not in a position to say, oh yeah, like I've overcame that. No, this is real life out here, bro. I'm 20 years old. I make mistakes every single day, and there's things that I wish I wouldn't have done. There's things that I wish I would have did better. There's things that I wish I did more. I wish I would have did more of. But instead of sitting in the past and pondering on what could have been, you have to make the conscious decision to do what you can now and learn from what you did before. Assuming that you're, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, it's like, bro, you don't understand how crucial this time is for you right now. It's so crucial. If you really feel like you're ready to leave the nest and explore, understand that you have to be tight with your soul. You have to be tight with yourself, because if you don't, you will lose yourself. But I've met way too many people, friends, family, cousins, who've lost themselves. I almost lost my damn self, bro. I was so close to breaking. And I'm not talking about like suicide or anything like that, but I'm saying I was just so close to, like, how do I explain it, bro? When you make mistakes and when you do bad things, and whatever the case is, when you just do stuff that you know you shouldn't be doing, you have to sit down with that thought, and you have to sit down with those actions, and you have to have a conversation with yourself. And what does that conversation consist of? It's you asking yourself, is this who I am? Is this what I'm gonna be for the rest of my life? Is this where I'm going? Is this where I'm headed? Are the things that people saying about me, are they true? Is this really who I am and what I am and what I will always be? Or am I better than this? And guess what? It's a decision. It's a decision, bro. Like, yeah, you can say, oh no, like deep down inside, I know. No, fuck that. I've met way too many people who had potential and wasted it over drugs or wasted over girls or wasted over whatever. It's a decision. You get to decide who you are. You get to decide your character. When you make these mistakes, when you do these things, when you go to here and when you go there, you sit down and you have to ask yourself, like, so is this what it's gonna be? Am I gonna be the person who parties every weekend, never saves money, never knows what it's like to be financially free, never knows what it's like to be consistent on anything, never knows what it's like to actually get this thing done that I've been wanting to do since I was 13 years old? Is that gonna be my life? Am I going, like, there's a lot of people who you work with, who you talk to, who you know, who are like that. They have succumbed to the lack of, instead of fulfilling the potential and the drive and the desire of being great. And you're going to come to that conclusion when you start paying bills, when you start having rent, when you start living alone, when you start getting introduced to temptations, when you start getting introduced to all of these demonic things on this planet. You're gonna come to that conclusion and say, damn, like I have two options, bro. I can either choose enlightenment or I can choose materialism. I can either choose modern society or I can choose being a non-conformist. And guess what? Nobody's gonna make that decision for you. Superman isn't coming from the roof to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. God gives you free will. That means you have the option for heaven or hell. It's your choice. It's nobody else's choice. So full circle, because this video is way longer than I thought it was gonna be. Step 1, why do you wanna move up? Step 2, can I financially do this? And step 3, am I ready, truly ready to be alone? Am I ready to face myself in my most vulnerable state with no distractions? Am I ready to deal with that? Am I ready to be really in tune with that? No game gonna save you, no girl gonna, like none of that, bro. Am I ready for this? And if you truly can sit down and look in the mirror and say, yes, I can do this. Like I'm straight, like I'm gonna be good. Then have at it, bro. Then now you can watch those goofy videos of top 10 things you need before you, like you can watch those videos after this one, bro. But this is the one that you gotta watch before you start looking, how much should I have shaved before I put her down the pot? Like those are cool videos too, no disrespect to them, but it's like, have you thought about the mental aspect and the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect before you thought about, oh, what color should my bed frame be? How should I design my room? If you haven't thought, think now. And I hope this video helps somebody, you know? Because if I had a video like this before I moved out, bro, I definitely would have spent the last year a little differently. Now, do I regret everything because of what I learned? No, because I'm here in this moment and I'm proud to be who I am in the moment. But I made some mistakes, you know? Maybe I help you not make no mistakes, all right?